Hello viewers. Welcome to Skullhead Nations. Today we'll be discussing Liberia, a quiet African country with fascinating history. Liberia is a country that isn't talked about much. It sits on the coast of West Africa. Liberia has a population of 5.5 million people, a land mass of 43,000 square miles, and the capital city is Monrovia. The country was formed in 1822 as a place for the freed slaves from America to be relocated to. Roughly 18,000 slaves were relocated to Liberia. Most of the slaves were Afro-American, but some were Afro-Caribbean. Liberia declared independence on July 26, 1847, which the U.S. did not recognize until February 5, 1862. Liberia remained as a quiet nation on the West African coast. But in 1990, disaster struck. The First Liberian Civil War started. It killed 200,000 people, most of them being innocent civilians. The First Liberian Civil War was the first of two civil wars within the West African nation of Liberia, which lasted between 1989 and 1997. President Samuel Doe's regime of totalitarianism and widespread corruption led to calls for withdrawal of the support of the United States by the late 1980s. In December 1989, the National Patriotic Front of Liberia, led by Charles Taylor, invaded Liberia from Ivory Coast to overthrow Doe, and gained control over most of Liberia within a year. Doe was captured, tortured, and executed by the Independent National Patriotic Front of Liberia, a splinter faction led by Prince Johnson, in September 1990. The NPFL and INPFL then fought each other for control of the capital city, Monrovia, and against the Armed Forces of Liberia and Proto United Liberation Movement of Liberia for Democracy. In 1995, peace negotiations and foreign involvement led to a ceasefire. Fighting continued until a peace agreement between the main factions occurred in August 1996. Taylor was elected president of Liberia following the 1997 Liberian general election and entered office in August 1997. The First Liberian Civil War killed around 200,000 people and eventually led to an intervention by the Economic Community of West African States and the United Nations. The peace lasted for 2 years until the Second Liberian Civil War broke out when anti-Taylor forces invaded Liberia from Guinea in April 1999. The Second Liberian Civil War was a civil war in the West African nation of Liberia that lasted from 1999 to 2003. The war was mainly caused by transition failures after the First Civil War, especially the peace-building process, which would result from reintegration, disarmament, rehabilitation, and demobilization. President Charles Taylor came to power in 1997 after victory in the First Liberian Civil War, which led to 2 years of peace. The Liberians United for Reconciliation and Democracy, an anti-Taylor rebel group backed by the government of Guinea, invaded northern Liberia in mid-2000, seizing the city of Voinjama. LURD made gradual gains against Taylor in the north and began approaching the capital Monrovia by early 2002. The Movement for Democracy in Liberia, a second anti-Taylor rebel group, invaded southern Liberia in early 2003 and quickly conquered most of the south. Taylor, reduced to controlling only a third of Liberia and under pressure from the siege of Monrovia, resigned in August 2003 and fled to Nigeria. The Accra Comprehensive Peace Agreement was signed by the warring parties a week later, marking the political end of the conflict and beginning Liberia's transition to democracy. The National Transitional Government led by interim President Guyaud Bryant governed the country until the 2005 general election. The Second Liberian Civil War resulted in the deaths of over 50,000 people and the internal displacement of thousands more. The conflict saw the widespread use of child soldiers by both Taylor and LURD. The United Nations mission in Liberia was deployed in the country until it was officially withdrawn in 2018. Those are the grim civil wars of Liberia. Now Liberia is a calm country that still struggles sometimes, but is far more stable. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good day.